the first day we actually got there at midnight or like 12:30, and we were exhausted. We were super jet lagged. I remember we stepped off the plane and we already saw the huge difference. We're just like, where are we? The airport was so much smaller. There's tons of people even at midnight, and so we were kind of shocked by that. And we started hearing bits and pieces of Tagalog here and there, and we were getting all excited even though we were really tired. We're just like, oh, did you hear that? And we're like trying to like eavesdrop on people. We grabbed our luggage and then we went out to the curb. We had a bunch of missionaries with us on the airplane, not just from my mission, but also from Manila Mission and I think a couple like Quezon City North, the ones that were near us. And one of the elders in the Manila Mission, he was one of my friends, and we walked out and we sat on our luggage, and my hair was curled at the time, and I remember feeling like my hair was just like dropping because of the humidity. I'm from California, so I don't really know what humidity is like, and so I just sat there and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so hot, and it was really loud. That was something I didn't expect, especially at 12:30 at night. You know, here in America, the airports, they're not loud, they're not quiet, but there it's just like you hear all this bustling and you hear honks and you hear the jeepneys and the tricycles trying to get the people that are coming out of the airport to come with you or to come with them. And so we got taken to a hotel because our mission president didn't actually expect us to get there that day. We had been bumped up a day earlier. And so instead of staying at the mission home, we got booted to a hotel. And I remember we walked in and we were like, oh, this is nice. You know, we've heard all these stories about how different the living conditions are there. And I was like, this is really nice compared to what I've heard. And so we go in, we sleep for maybe like a couple of hours, because then we had to get up at like 5 to go to the mission home. And we go and we ate breakfast, and the first Filipino dish that we had is it was rice with longanisa, which is like it's like a sausage, and it's Filipino style, and then there was like an egg with it. And I remember the elders, they had gotten up and eaten first because they're starving and they couldn't help themselves, and they came out and they're like, the portions here are so small. We're like, what? Like, we're still not even full. And we're like, what? So we go in, we look, and it's really small compared to what you would see in America. And so that was the first culture shock we had. We're like, wow, everything's way small here. And then as we were leaving the kitchen area, one of the sisters, she turned to us and she's like, sisters, I just saw an e-piece. And an e-piece in Tagalog means cockroach. And we were like, what? No. And she's like, yeah, I was on the floor. We're like, let's get out of here. We were freaked out. And then we went into our transportation vehicle, and the driving in the Philippines is insane. The traffic is crazy, even early in the morning, because there's so many people, and so they're trying to like bustle through traffic and stuff. And I remember all of us just thinking like, oh my gosh, we're gonna die, because we didn't have seatbelts or anything. And we're just going through, and he was like weaving through, and we're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. We're like, this is so freaky, but we're also having tons of fun, thinking it was like the best thing ever. We got to the mission office where we had to transfer meetings, and then we got put into our different companionships, and I was in a threesome. And at this point, we're all exhausted. Like my two trainers bring me back to our little apartment, and that was a shock too, just seeing how different it was from the hotel. And okay, so it's a little different. There's no air conditioning, just lots of fans, and it's really hot. My trainer said, okay, just drop your stuff off. We dropped it off. It was her first time being in that apartment as well. And so we dropped it off, and then she told our other companion, okay, let's go to work. And I was like, what? I'm so tired. Like, what are you talking about? We're going to go to work. And so she's like, no, we're going to work, Sister Wilson. I was like, okay. And she's American, and my other trainer was Tongan. So that was kind of different. I expected to be put with a Filipino right away, but I wasn't. So it's kind of nice. She was sweet and talking English to me, so I didn't feel out of place. Then we went to our area where, we went to work, and it was kind of different because it was in the afternoon and we started walking around and I was sweating like crazy. I did not expect that. You just feel like sweat dripping down your back the entire time. And that was a different experience. But then as we started walking through the area, I just remember thinking, I'm not in America anymore. This is really different. There's different smells, different sounds. You hear roosters everywhere, and there's people all out on the street. That was my favorite part. There were people, and all these kids are running up and like talking to us, and I just wanted to know so bad like what they were saying to me, but I couldn't understand all of them. And I remember specifically going to one house where we had investigators, and I just remember getting bit by mosquitoes because by this time it had gotten to around nighttime because our area was really far, so we had to take like a jeepney and then a tricycle and then another tricycle, and then we walked through the village. And I'll probably explain later what a jeepney and tricycle are in case you haven't figured that out yet. But yeah, I was just getting bit by mosquitoes, and I remember like itching so much and freaking out, and there's no like street lights, so we're just using flashlights to get through, or the phone flashlight that we had. And my favorite part of the entire night was when we went and we were singing a hymn for the opening of the lesson, and we look at the door and all these kids had just come rushing over to that house, and probably all the kids in that village, they all came because they heard us singing and they wanted to be a part of it. Filipinos love to sing. It's a huge part of their culture. And that was just a super special moment where we saw all these kids, and then they wanted to touch us and they wanted to talk to us. And at that moment I needed that because I just felt so loved. And so I tried talking to them, and I felt really comfortable around the kids because they wouldn't talk fast to me. They would laugh at me because my Tagalog was awful, but they would talk to me and they would try to teach me. They're like, no sister, that's wrong, hindi ganyan, and they'd try and teach me bits and pieces. So yeah, my first night was tiring and exhausting. And I remember coming home, and my trainer was so kind. She made my bed for me and everything, and I laid there and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. And I was like, well, this is the beginning of mission life. Lots of exhausting things, but it's gonna be great.